welcome to another episode of Beards and Board Games with me, Georgie. Today I'm going to be reviewing Province. Can you see that? I don't know if you can see it, it's so small. It is a very, very small game. It was released in 2014. Was a Kickstarter project by Sam Strict and Clayton Gray. Had over 6,000 backers and made over $48,000. Just an insane amount of money for something that they were only offering at $5 through the Kickstarter. The game itself is for age 13 plus, plays for 2 players, is a worker placement game, so involves you deciding where you want to put your meeples to generate that amount of labour or money this turn to, basically try and then buy buildings to just basically to have the bigger province than the sort of rival family. So you are a old school family rivaling with another family, both just trying to build provinces in the same area, but who can build the better one? Let's go and have a look at Province. So guys, this is Province. As you can see, not the biggest game in the world. If I compare it to sort of my hands, the board is about the size of a beer coaster, or sort of like a beer mat or something when you're in a pub. But realistically, does it need to be any bigger? Who knows? Let's have a look. So, aim of the game, like I said, is to be the family that builds the biggest province compared to everyone else. You build a province by building more houses than you do than your other player. Each of these have 7 houses. A couple of ways that the game ends, by the way, but I'll go through that in a second. So the aim of the game is the person with the most victory points, once either one of each building has been built. So you can see here there's the lender, a bank, a mill, a smithy, a harbour, a union, a village and a camp. So once one of each is built, if one player runs out of houses, or you run out of money. The way you run out of money is obviously if you have 5 ones, you would need to exchange them for a 5, and then but if you run out of money completely, that would also end the game. And the person with the most victory points at the end wins. How you get victory points? So your turn basis would go as such. Everyone has access to 3 workers on their turn. So from the start, 3 workers. This is it. With your 3 workers, you can only move them 1 space each. So, in turn, making them all go the different one. But you don't have to move them all, but you have to move a minimum of 1. So, on this turn, for example, I might go like that. And then that might get me, because on the board here, I should have shown you, there's 3 options. So these 2 are for labour, and this sign is for money. So if I put 2 workers here, for example, and 1 worker on here, that turn I would get 2 money, or 2 gold, my 2 gold there, and 1 labour. Now gold carries over to your next turn, labour does not. Oh, I should have also mentioned as well, at the start of every game you'd flip one of these at random, and all of them mean a different thing. So this one is first to build 4 provinces. Each of the symbols on the little diamond sort of shape, each of the symbols means something different, so each goal has a different victory point. So on that, say I would take 2 money, 1 labour. There isn't anything I can do with that, because you can see at the side how you would actually buy things. So on this instance, if you want to buy the lender, it would cost you 2 money, as said at the bottom, and 2 labour. Now the first person to build their place, or their apartment or house or province in this area, gets the victory point attached to said area. So this one, say, would be 1 victory point. Now it also gives me then the ability to buy the bank above that, because you'll see the little arrow here that connects these 2, and these 2. This one not so much, you can buy any of those separately, but in order to buy the bank I must first have the lender. That's why there's a little pink arrow there. So now that I have the lender, I could then buy the bank. So just say for instance I had 2 labour on that turn and I would spend my 2 gold, I would then have the lender token. Lender token gives you access to borrow a power of another area. So I'll quickly go through the powers. The bank means that for every meeple that you have on here, it would be worth 2 gold rather than 1. The mill automatically gives you +1 labour every turn. Smithy, same as.
Harbour. Harbour's slightly different. So if the first person to build a province on the harbour obviously is entitled to that victory point, but then also becomes the harbour master. The harbour master takes these two every turn that somebody's in the harbour every turn that somebody has a province in the harbour, the harbour master will take these, flip them. So in that instance I rolled and I got 2 black sides, which means I can get 1 coin. So I would get 1 extra coin for that because I have the harbour. Now you see at the top there is options as to what you can do with the harbour. If you get 2 white, you get +1 labour. If you get a white and a black, you'll see that there's double-sided. If you get a white and a black, you can spend 3 coins to get 1 seafarer, which actually gives you or your opponent, depending on which colour you are, access to another meeple on the board, another worker, to either gain more labour or more pennies for you, essentially. And the game will just continue on like that until, like I said, everyone's got either one person's run out of houses, the one of each place has been built, or the money runs out, which is very unlikely for the money to run out because everyone continuously is spending the money. And the only other way to access different workers is to buy the camp, which gives you access to the camp token. Oh, sorry, that's that one. The camp token, which again every token that you introduce starts in the top labour spot. And again, if you buy the village after that, you then have access to the village token. Again, every token that you introduce was there. So, like for instance, on that turn I would then get 4 labour and 2 money if it ended up like that. But if I had the bank gives you access to get 2 gold for everything. I would then get 4 labour and 4 money, which would give me the ability to buy a pretty good location. The only other thing I would say is if you have leftover labour or 2 leftover labour at the end of your turn, you can carry, because you can't carry the labour over, you can grind, or grind as they call it, which is spending 2 labour for 1 coin. Just means that you don't waste all your labour if you get left with 3 or 2, but if you get left with 1 you're still pretty screwed. But until that point, that's it. That is basically province. I don't think there's anything else I need to go through, and there is one other component that I didn't talk to you about, and it is basically just the labour counter. Probably one of the only negatives, I won't bring this up again in my final review, but one of the only negatives of the game is, what is this even for? I mean, it's supposed to be, okay, so on my turn I have 3 labour to spend, I'll put that there, 3 labour, 3 coins, okay, I'll buy, what do I buy? I don't know, I'll buy this, say. Okay, that's fine, your turn. So it doesn't carry over, it's just there, it's not nailed together, it just sits there. It does kind of bug me that it's probably one of the biggest pieces in the box, but never mind. Anyway, let's go take a look at what I thought of Province.
So guys, what did I think of Province overall? Personally, I think it's pretty good. I like the idea that it's so small, it's so compact, it literally is the size of a beer coaster. That to me is quite enticing. I like the idea of being able to take a game around with me and not really worry about what size of surface I'll have to play it on, because as long as you've got something the size of a DVD case, you can pretty much play Province on it. I really understand why they kickstarted this, and I really do understand why a lot of people backed it. If there was one thing I would say that kind of lets it down, it could just be the fact that you get the little cardboard circle meeples rather than actual little meeples, but it's nothing to stop you adding them yourself and just taking a bit of responsibility for your own game. I understand that when a game's released it probably should be up to scratch and things, but it works, it has all the pieces, it has all the components. It doesn't lack anything to make it a fun game. Honestly, the few people that I've played it with, or I say 4 or 5 people that I've played it with, on all the runs through that I've had, or the run-throughs that I've had, they did not think too much of it, bar one. They were very stereotypical in my mind. Yes, you all know who I'm talking about, because you all slagged it off just because of its size, because of the artwork. And what's wrong with the artwork? Yeah, it looks a bit Planet of the Apes, but there's nothing particularly wrong with such having a lovely, strapping, handsome chap on the front of your Province box. I mean, it's Come on, there's worse artwork out there. Admit it. Isn't there? No? Meh. My opinion, I really like Province. I think it's a great game. It passes the time. I believe it advertised itself on its Kickstarter page as a filler game or a game for or make a night of it sort of thing. But to me, great filler game if you're playing with a bunch of people. A bunch of people want to go and have a break, take something to eat, whatever. You're just having a game day. The two people that want to play, which there is always probably me, will be quite happy to play Province. In my opinion, it'll pass the time. Lasts about 20 minutes to half an hour. There's nothing wrong with the game. So in my opinion, I really like Province. But thanks again for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Catch you guys later.